So in today's video, we're going to be continuing to backtest pound US dollar over the 2021 price action. Plan for this video is, first of all, we're going to go through the exact strategy that I use. We're going to go through it step by step, so we have a little plan of what we're actually backtesting. We're then going to get into around 30 minutes or so worth of backtesting using FX Replay. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right over to the charts and let's go through, first of all, the strategy, and then we'll get into the backtesting itself. All right, guys, so thanks for joining me here over on the charts. So first of all, let's write up a plan of what we're actually looking for when we're backtesting. So the first step, I'll go through this step by step, but the first step that we're always looking for, and the first step I'm always doing, is looking at the overall higher time frame narrative. Where is price overall heading? What is the higher time frame direction? And then crucially, I'm only looking to trade in line with this higher time frame direction, right? So step one, higher time frame direction, and then only trade in this direction, right? So if price is bullish, I'm only looking to buy in line with this higher time frame bias, and if price is bearish, I'm only looking to sell in line with that higher time frame. The next step is basically to go down to some of the more intraday and lower time frames, look for a valid area of or point of interest from which we are going to be buying or selling. So this could be an area of supply or demand, or it could be a liquidity level, one of those two. I have a few different criteria for those, but I'll keep that for another video. So step two, just identify any POI, point of interest, where we're looking to buy or sell from. Step three, because obviously we don't want to just be buying or selling from the point of interest randomly. We want to essentially wait for price to come into that level and show us that it is willing to continue from this level by showing us a lower time frame confirmation entry. So step three is the lower time frame confirmation entry. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that in this video. I'll save it for a future video because that is quite a long topic in and of itself. Now, step four is very simply the SL and TP rule. TP rule, mechanical 1 to 3 TP. So on every trade, I'm just very simply setting my TP at a 1 to 3 risk to reward. The stop loss is going to go above the high or below the low of the lower time frame confirmation. I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment. But that's essentially all we're looking for. Very simple stuff, and we're going to essentially just repeat this on every single trade and see how it plays out. So let's get right into it. All right, guys, so step one, a higher time frame direction. Where is price overall heading? What is the overall direction at this point in time? So if we look out to the weekly time frame and start from the very beginning, what we can actually see, and what we basically were looking at last time, is the fact that we had this weekly breaker structure right here. Price had pulled back into the extreme, so the highest supply zone within the current leg of the trend. Tapped it initially, pushed down, and then last time at the end of the session, it had come back, re-grabbed this high, and then had started to push down from there. So what I was viewing price as having done is swept this high back into the supply for some potential more selling opportunities. And what basically confirmed this for me was the fact that we started to shift bearish on the 4-hour time frame. So you can see here, we were in this bullish 4-hour trend right here, right? And then once price came to this point, it started to move over to the downside. It hasn't yet flipped bearish on the 4-hour. We need to see it break this low, first of all, but based on how it's moving, that looks very likely. So let's see if we do indeed see that. Yeah, so there we go. 4-hour here has flipped bearish. As you guys can see, we were overall in this uptrend. We've now created a lower low. So the probability is that we see price continue down and create another lower low. So what we're looking for here is simply a pullback into a POI, which was step two. In this case, what I can see, we have this area of supply right up here. So what I'm looking for here is a pullback into this area to then continue selling the market down. So let's see if we can get a pullback into that zone. There we go. It has come up with quite a bit of momentum, but let's see if we can get a valid lower time frame confirmation here. All I'm simply looking for on the lower time frame is for the M5 to go from bullish to bearish by breaking the most recent higher low. I'm then waiting for a pullback to then short the market down. So in this case, we haven't yet had that breaker structure, so let's continue to play price. Right, there we go. So there we have that valid M5 change of character. Price went from bullish structure to bearish structure. So all we do now is simply enter on this imbalance. Stops just above the high, which is that stop loss rule that I was talking about. So above the high before the change of character. And then mechanical 1 to 3 TP. So there we go. We're just setting this at a 1 to 3. Every single time, this helps to remove some of the discretion and emotional decision making from your trading. So let's place this trade. Hopefully it doesn't miss us. Yeah, so at the moment, guys, this looks like it has probably missed us. What I'm going to do, I can see a new area on the M15 to enter from. So now we have this supply zone instead after another breaker structure. So what I'm going to do here is set my limit on this zone with stops just above. And very simply target a 1 to 3 again. So let's see if we can get tagged into this. There we go, wick into our level. We had a sweep of this previous high as well, so this is looking quite good. Let's see if it can continue. Looks good so far. And yeah, there we go. So it was actually a perfect entry. You can see price wicked that level, tapped into the supply, and then continued to sell off. So that was a very nice first trade of the session. So what we can do now is very simply look for more continuation opportunities back down towards these previous lows down here. Right, so if I'm looking for continuations here, you can see that we've kind of now pushed down, failed to react from this demand. So demand has failed, supply is clearly in control. What I would be looking for here is maybe if we can see a pullback back up into this supply zone, as I'm seeing this first area here as an area of liquidity that we want to see price pull back and take out. Another scenario is that, you know, we could see a sweep of this and then price go. That would also be a valid trade as well, if we could see that. Okay, no, so it looks like price is heading higher. Obviously, we're not trying to sell against all of this momentum. We want to wait and see how price reacts. One thing we have done now, though, if you look within this whole range, it did come all the way up, grabbed the last bit of the liquidity in that range, tapped into this 15-minute supply to the left, which was at the top of that range, after we had that 15-minute change of character down here. So yeah, if we can see a valid confirmation here, I'm happy to enter. Actually, we have already seen it. You can see that we grabbed this high, created a lower low, created imbalance. So I'm going to enter here, stops slightly above the high in case price wants to do something like this, sweep the high and then continue lower. And as before, again, 1 to 3 mechanical TP just down there. So let's set this, let's see how it plays out. There we go, we are tagged in, but this isn't looking good at the moment, to be honest. Yeah, there we go, so stop loss on that one. It was a valid trade, so nothing to complain about that. Price is still within this area, so we could still see the sells from here. We might just have wanted to come up slightly higher. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Because now what you've seen is you've kind of had these initial sellers, price came up, took them out inside this area of supply, which is still holding. And now we've started to see price trade lower. So if we can get a break below this structure here, I'm going to jump back in the sells. There we go. So price did end up breaking back below that area right there. So what I'm looking for here is where in this range could we see price pull back into for the selling opportunities. So at the moment, I'm not seeing too much. Let's see how it develops a bit more. Actually, yeah, now, so now we formed this clear area of supply with imbalance. That's exactly what I was looking for. We've got some liquidity resting below it. So I'm going to set my limit here. Stops just above, probably have it above Asia high. And we're going to, again, just go for that 1 to 3 target. So let's see if price can pull back for us here. Slightly missed us, but the trade's still valid. So I'm going to keep the limit. This trade becomes invalid once this structure is broken. Looks like it wants to come up. Let's have a look. There we go. So price has tagged us in now. We've grabbed lots of these previous highs to the left, tapped into the area. Let's see if we can continue to sell from here. Okay, no. So little loss on that one. Let's continue here. Price is quite messy at the moment, but let's have a look. If we just get rid of some of these markings and maybe reanalyze this. So price is still within this supply zone, right? So we could still see the sells from here, and that's what I'm still thinking. Particularly because you've had before this 4-hour change of character, sweep of the weekly highs to the left. So what I'm now thinking is that maybe if you see a grab of this previous high inside that supply zone, we could maybe see sells from there. But yeah, let's have a look. I'm not going to stay married to the sells if price doesn't want to present them. Yeah, damn. So that's slightly annoying. The entry that got stopped out just there did end up playing out, as you guys can see. Price just wanted to come slightly higher before that move happened. And it now does look like it's probably heading towards those lows. Yeah, there we go. So analysis was good. We just didn't really manage to get the correct entry on that. As you guys can see just that. So let's keep playing price. We're still 1% up for the session, so good going so far. Now, based on how price is moving here, what I'm now looking for is just more selling opportunities back down, probably towards these lows to the left. So again, rinse and repeating the same procedure. Inside this current range, where can we see price maybe pull back into for the continuations? At the moment, I'm seeing this area of supply. We also have actually this lower one. So any of these two levels would be valid for me. We have Asia high just below it as well. So let's see if we can start to see price pull back. There we go. But it did not respect that lower one. We've now tapped into the higher one, which is higher probability because it's in more of a premium of that range as well. So yeah, if we can see a valid confirmation and breaker structure here, we can look to enter. It's nothing at the moment. Okay, cool. So we've come up. We're still in this supply. We've re-grabbed the initial tap. Let's have a look how this develops from here. So what I want to watch for here is actually what happens once the top of the supply zone is swept. One thing I always tell the students inside VIP is that when you see a sweep of the supply and demand zones on the higher time frame, and you're aligning that with the market structure and trend, it becomes a higher probability trade as opposed to seeing price just react from the supply itself. So if you're looking for the supply to get swept, it's very likely you see some sort of reaction. So you can see at the moment it hasn't yet been taken out. There we go. It now has been. So this is when we are more sort of honed in and focused on the charts to see if we can get an entry here. So currently the structure I want to see broken is this low. If we can get that, price has flipped bearish. Okay, no. So now it was this one. Actually, yeah, this looks really good. So we've had a sweep of Asia high after a sweep of the supply zone. Price flipped bearish. We've created imbalance. So I'm actually just going to enter on a market execution here, just because the risk to reward is already going to be worth it. And for this trade, I'm going to go for, again, just the mechanical TP rule, which aligns nicely with this previous liquidity level down here. So let's set this. There we go. Let's see if price can continue to sell off. You can see there as well, we could have maybe set a limit on the supply zone after a pullback, but for me, the risk to reward was already worth it, so that wasn't necessary. Let's see if this can continue to sell. It looks good so far. Cool, there we go. So we are now 4% up for this session. Obviously as well, if you wanted a better or a bigger TP rule, you could have targeted these lows down here, which are probably going to get hit based on how price is moving. But yeah, I'd rather be out, secure that profit, and then just look for another entry opportunity here. Which at the moment doesn't look like price wants to present one. Okay, so thoughts here. We've had this big sell-off. Price is not reacting from anything significant to the left, so I'm looking to short into this low. Thoughts on where we could see the pullback to, maybe this area of supply. If we could see a pullback into there, we can look to short. Apart from that, there's not any other levels that I would look to sell from, to be honest. So yeah, there we go. We did have another break of that low beforehand, but this area of supply up here is still valid if we can see a pullback into it. So this area right here, it's in a premium. We have this liquidity below it, so it's a perfectly valid level. Actually, we could also maybe see, this would also be a valid point of interest for me. So we've come up, grabbed these highs and the Asia high as well. So if we could see a reaction from this level, this would also be a valid selling opportunity as well. Nothing just yet though. Yeah, so I don't like how this is kind of just moving a bit sideways and correctively. So I think this is likely going to continue higher before we see the lower prices. Could be wrong, but let's see. Yeah, there we go. So we had a regrab of that high, break a structure to the downside. If we can see a pullback into this area, I'm happy to sell from there. But yeah, no, we didn't get that before we broke the low, so wasn't valid in the end, unfortunately. Analysis was good though, played out as we expected. So yeah, guys, now you can very clearly see bearish momentum coming in after we had that initial sweep of that high to the left. So yeah, I am now longer term bearish on GU. So if we look for more selling opportunities back down towards some of these previous lows down here, if we see a pullback here, we could maybe see pullback into this zone, or we still have that supply up here in a more premium. So let's have a look how this develops. Right, so this would be my first POI. We've come up, we've swapped the top of that supply. We've come into a premium. If it doesn't respect this zone, the next one I would look at is this supply, which was the one we had marked on before. But yeah, at the moment, this is also a valid level if we can get a valid confirmation entry here, which we did just get. So I'm in shorts from here. What I was looking for was the breaker structure with imbalance, which we have just got. I'm going to target a 1 to 3. We'll place this order and let's see how this plays out. Nope, quick loss on that one. Right, I think we were just early. So you can see we've grabbed the high again. Now we've broken structure with slightly clearer intent. We've created this area of supply. If we can see a pullback into there, I'm going to jump back in the sells and have stops just above the high. 1 to 3 target again. So let's see if price can pull back for us here. There we go. So we're in again. See how this plays out. By the way, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the session, but I don't manage my trades. I just let them run to SL or TP using that same 1 to 3 mechanical TP rule. And this is something I found through backtesting, that it's actually more profitable to just let the trades run than to use a break-even rule. Yeah, so there we go. We're out of the sells again. Price looks to be trading higher. Next sell level we could maybe see, you know, it didn't respect that supply zone. So what I would actually look for now is maybe if we can see a grab of this high. Like that. So we're still in this bearish trend, right? We've come up, re-grabbed that high. Haven't yet swept any lows down here. So I'm still thinking this is bearish, but we were just slightly early on the move. So yeah, this would be a great place to sell from actually if we can get a valid confirmation, which we haven't got yet, but let's see how this unfolds. There we go. So that's what I was looking for. Sweep of the high, break a structure just here. So now again, asking ourselves, where could we see price pull back into if we're going to see the continuations lower? At the moment, we have this area that stands out to me. If we can see a pullback into that, this would be a nice opportunity. And again, just simple 1 to 3 target down here. So let's see if this can tag us in. Damn, so slightly missed us there, but we had the correct idea. Look at how heavily the sells came in from there. Slightly annoying, but let's keep going. Let's see how price develops from here. Obviously, it's very bearish, so I'm only looking to sell currently. Looking to just follow this structure down. Did sweep these lows, but based on how bearish it's moving, I'm not trying to buy against this. Right, so yeah, still looking for those continuations lower. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward Asia session as well. Next sort of POI that I would look at would be this area. If maybe we can see a sweep into it, which it doesn't look like price wants to do at the moment. As you can see, we just kind of continued down from there. So next sort of level, I wouldn't want to sell from this supply because there's no liquidity below it. What I would maybe look for here is if we can see price come up into this sort of supply zone instead, or maybe a sweep of the top of it. That would also be quite nice. But let's see how it plays out. Yeah, so looks like it probably isn't going to pull all the way back there. Still not really seeing anything too clean here. You've kind of just got, when price is moving like this, there's not really an opportunity to enter. You just kind of got these small pullbacks, price just taps and goes, and it's not really optimal for this system. Right, so we are now starting to see a pullback. Right, so I'm still bearish overall, but you can see where price is pulling back from. Swept these daily lows, started to push up. So Where could we maybe sell this from? You know, we have this sort of supply zone up here. We could maybe see price come into. We also have this one that price has just come into as well. Swept these highs to the left and is starting to react. So maybe we could see it from here actually as well, if we get a valid confirmation. Yeah, there we go. So you can see there, price is starting to flip bearish from this area. For me at the moment, I need to see a little bit more. This isn't very convincing. Actually, so yeah, if you look on the M15, we did kind of flip bearish just there. We've now started to pull back. But yeah, there you go. That's what I was talking about. It didn't look very convincing. Price is now continuing higher. Still overall bearish, but looks like it wants to retrace a bit more. First of all, right, there we go. So price has now come up, tapped into that more premium area of supply we were looking at just here. So this is a great place, in my opinion, to look for the shorts. Now that we've had this retracement, we've come up into this supply. So either we see maybe price sell from here, or if we could see a grab of the top of the supply, that would also be valid as well. So let's see what happens here. There you go. So you're starting to see price shift bearish from there. I'm not seeing any entry areas just yet though, so let's see how this develops. Right, there we go actually. So we do now have one. This area of supply. I'm going to set a limit on this. Stops slightly above it. And again, simple 1 to 3 target. Obviously, we don't want to be targeting like all the way down here. It's just completely unrealistic. And there we go, guys. So TP hit on that one. Very simple trade. One thing I liked about this as well is you can see as price, before price pulled back, it kind of just was consolidating here, building liquidity below our entry area. If you see on the 15-minute, we also created Asia high just below it. Price came up, grabbed that, and then sold off. So very clean trade there. Now let's just look for more continuation opportunities. You can see we've pulled back, reacted from supply in that overall bearish trend, and we've started to kind of see price shift back bearish. So still looking for more continuations lower. So now looking for a new zone for price to pull back into. Yeah, not seeing anything here just yet. Right, let's zoom back out here. Right, so what I'm thinking here is maybe if we can see, like price has just done, a sweep of these highs into the imbalance. This looks like a breaker structure, so most people are going to be trying to buy here. So let's look if we can see some sells. There we go. It has started to sell off, but there's no entry confirmation there. Yeah, so analysis worked well, but if you look on the M5, just there wasn't any valid breaks of structure here, so that wasn't a valid trade for me. Again, we've now continued lower, broken into new lows, so just still looking for more continuations lower from here. Not really seeing much here, POI wise. Maybe if we see a grab of this 4-hour high. Okay, no, so price just sold off straight into our target. We managed to secure 3% on that move, so nothing really to complain about there. But yeah, guys, let's move on to the next trade. So what I'm looking for now, we've obviously had this next 4-hour break of structure. So rinse and repeating the same thing again. We're looking for a retracement somewhere within this leg, and then looking to continue selling down towards the liquidity target that we had marked on, which was this previous daily low down here. Once those lows are taken out, we could maybe see some buy step into the market. Obviously, we want to be reacting to price, not predicting what it's going to do. So we'll see what happens at the time, but that is the overall sort of longer term projection right now. So yeah, let's look and see if we can get some more selling opportunities down into that level. As of right now, you know, if you're looking in this range and you're looking at where are the supply areas within this range, we have first of all this one. It was already tapped, but because it is in a premium and because it's a clear level of supply, I would look to go off of it again if price comes up and grabs, you know, these sort of previous highs right there. So yeah, let's see if we can get a pullback into that area. Okay, I could also maybe see price react from this one if it doesn't want to pull back that far. Okay, no, so price just went straight through that one. So now we can expect it maybe to do a bigger retracement on the higher time frame, back up towards this previous level right here. I like this one as well because it does have the added confluence that we have some liquidity resting below it. So yeah, let's see if we can get a move up into this level. I'm not really interested in buying up to it, just because we are overall bearish at the moment. There we go. So price tapped into that level. We can now look for a potential entry if price presents one. This is Asia session though, so I'm going to fast forward this and we'll see what happens during the London Open. We've grabbed Asia high as well. That's another good confluence. And yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I wanted to see. We've broken lower, broken structure on the M15. So what we can look for now is very simply a pullback into an area to look to continue selling down. At the moment, we have this area of supply inside this range. So I'm going to set a limit on this. Stops slightly above that high. I just want to make sure actually one sec that did we grab that high? No. So I'm actually I'm waiting because I think price is going to come slightly higher first to grab this high at least. Okay, no, so we did get the sell-off, but price wouldn't have pulled back into our entry area anyway, so that's completely fine. Next sort of level that I would look for a retracement into, obviously we've now had internally price shifted bearish, breaking past multiple areas of the structure. So if we could get a pullback maybe into like this sort of region, we could look to continue selling now. Overall, we are still bearish, so the thought here is that this is going to be the current lower high that puts in a new low. But yeah, let's see if we can get a retracement into that level. I want to wait for another confirmation in that area. I wouldn't want to just set a limit on it. So yeah, let's see what happens here. Could also maybe see this one at the top of this range. Right, there we go. So price has come up, grabbed this high, tapped into this supply. So this would be a great place to look for the shorts. So let's have a look what happens here. If it does not respect this one, the next area that I'm thinking we could see sells from is if we see a regrab of this high up here. So these are the two sort of levels that I'd be looking at right now. But yeah, let's see which ones give the reaction. At the moment it is moving quite bullish, so I wouldn't really want to sell against this. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like it's continuing higher. So we can now look at the next level, which is this liquidity level right here. There we go. So price did take it out. We're back in this 4-hour supply zone. We swept the initial tap of it. So now we can look to potentially jump in the shorts. Obviously with the confirmation as well. There we go. So this wick got grabbed, which was the sort of first tap. We've then had a market shift in structure right here. We created some imbalance. So if we can get a pullback somewhere within this leg, I'm happy to enter. So I'm going to set my limit just there. Stops slightly above the high in case price wants to re-grab it one more time, and mechanical 1 to 3 TP down here. So let's see if we can get a pullback up to this level. There we go. We're now in that trade. Perfect entry so far. And let's let this run. Let's see how it plays out. I'm still happy with this because it pulled back and held the supply. And there we go. So TP hit on that one, 3% secured. And overall price now is just continuing to the downside. So what we can look for here is, again, looking to follow this internal trend after it flipped bearish. After coming into our higher time frame zone, we could maybe see a retracement up into this sort of 4-hour supply. That would be quite nice if we could see that. But yeah, overall my higher time frame sort of thought now is that we see a retracement followed by a sell-off back into these lows. We're overall bearish and higher time frame is still respecting that bearish structure. So we don't really have any reason to be buying at the moment. But yeah, let's see if we can get a retracement here. Okay, there we go. So price tapped into that level. It didn't come into this refined supply, but this one right here. But it did tap the 4-hour zone, so we could maybe see the sells here, or we could see it come back slightly higher into this one up here. Actually, yeah, so I like this at the moment. So we had that change of character right there. Hasn't created any imbalance yet, so this isn't quite valid for me. So we need to see the imbalance first of all, if we're gonna sell from here. There we are. So now we have that clear area of imbalance. If we can see a pullback into this area, I'm setting a limit on this zone. Stops slightly above and 1 to 3 target once again. Keeping in mind that we could still maybe see a sweep of all of this into that refined zone as well, if this one does lose. Let's see, it might not even pull back. Actually, I'm going to cancel this one because I think it's likely you see this as an inducement below the supply, based on the fact we've come down and held demand. Yeah, there we go. So we got exactly that. Highs swept into the supply. This is when we want to be looking for the shorts. If we head over to the M5, there's not really anything here, like structure-wise, unless we see a break like all the way down here. Let's jump over to the M3 actually, because it's probably... Yeah, so actually, I'm going to enter this. I'm confident in this one because we've had a sweep of that high to the left into the supply zone, followed by a clear sort of sell-off from there. So I think it's very likely you see it seek the opposing liquidity now. So I'm actually just going to set a limit on this area. Zoom in on that. Missed us by like less than a pip. And then started to sell off. I'm actually going to keep my limit here unless it breaks this low. Then it becomes invalid essentially. Yeah, there we go. So that was annoying. Missed us by like 1 pip or so, and then hit TP. But let's move on to the next trade now. Right, so thought process here. We came up, grabbed the highs into the supply. We've now pushed down, haven't yet taken these lows. So I'm going to be looking to sell into them. If we can maybe see push up into this sort of level. There we go. Price pushed up into the supply. We had that M5 change of character right there. So now, same thing as usual. We look for a pullback into the imbalance, and then we look to sell down. So if we can get something like this, this would be nice. Obviously, if this low goes, first of all, this trade becomes invalid. Right, there we go. So we're tagged in. Nice reaction so far. Let's let this run. Nice one. There we go. So very clean trade right there. Pretty much perfect entry. Price came up, wick rejected it, and then we get that sell-off. After you have a sweep of Asia into the supply zone. So very clean trade right there. Again, just simply following the same process over and over again. Now we have this another broker structure, so we're looking for another pullback to sell back down towards these lows down here. And overall this this daily target all the way down here as well, that's the higher time frame main target that we're looking for. Let's see if price can start to pull back. Okay, no, so it has now broken that main higher time frame low, as you can see right there, which was this one. If we zoom back out, and yeah, we also now have grabbed that daily target, so this daily liquidity level. So what I'm thinking here, we've had this big sell-off, we've grabbed opposing liquidity. I'm going to be mindful here, because even though higher time frame is bearish, we could maybe start to see a bigger pullback on the daily, you know, maybe back up to this sort of supply to fill in the daily imbalance, based on the fact that that higher time frame liquidity was taken out. You can see on the weekly as well, so very clear level, but only if we can see price start to shift bullish. Obviously, I don't want to be predicting a big rally from here. I want to wait and see what price shows me. So yeah, let's see if we can get the flip bullish here. Currently is still bearish, so we need to see a breaker structure first, at least on the M15 in this case. There we go. This looks perfect actually. So we've had that M15 change of character. After the daily liquidity was taken out, we have an inducement right there, resting above an area of imbalanced demand. This is exactly what I was looking for. So let's enter this trade. Well, set a limit. In terms of SL placement on this one, I want to have it below this low just in case price retests this supply zone as well. And then again, 1 to 3 standard TP just up here. And let's see if we get tagged in. There we go. And like I said, it did end up retesting this lower demand zone, which we could have probably got a confirmation in as well if we wanted to wait for one. But yeah, now just looking for more continuations up if price can continue for us. There we go. So very nice TP secured on that one for 3%. And you can also see now we've actually broken bullish on the hourly time frame when we broke above this structure. Higher time frame wise, we are still bearish, but we are seeing this sort of bigger pullback now, maybe back up. You know, you have all of these highs up here, which we could see price target. So the next buying zone I would actually look at here, based on this momentum and based on the fact that lower time frame has flipped bullish, we could maybe see a pullback into this zone. I'd want another confirmation though in this zone. I wouldn't want to just set a limit on it. There we go. So we did have tap into it, M5 change of character here, but there's no imbalance created. So this, as you guys know, is not quite valid for me. Maybe if we now see price come back into it and sweep these previous lows, that would be quite nice as well. There we go, so price came back into it. Tap the 4-hour demand. 5 minute has flipped bullish as well, as you guys can see. So yeah, same thing as usual. I'm looking for a pullback here to jump in on the buys. This sort of whole area down here would be valid if price could pull back into it. And for me, it needs to pull back into this level before breaking this high, otherwise the trade's invalid. There we go, we're in. Let's see if this can continue. It might also want to come down into the demand down here. Okay, no, there we go. So price is starting to rally. We've broken structure again, just there. So yeah, I'm gonna hold this trade. Let's see how it develops. It looks good. And there we go. So TP hit on that one. We're still moving to the upside. We still have all of this bullish momentum. So the next buying zone I would look at is this area right here. There we go. We didn't respect it, but it has just got taken out. As you guys can see, the low of that demand was swept. As I mentioned before, this makes the trade higher probability if we can get a confirmation. So we need to see a closure above this lower high right there. There we go. So this is developing quite nicely. We've had our change of character. We have an area of imbalanced demand. So I'm going to set a limit on here. Stop slightly below those lows and 1 to 3 target again. Alright, damn, so no pullback on that one, but analysis played out very well. Okay guys, but before we end this video, I just wanted to take a quick walkthrough of some of the statistics that we have so far, going from January 2021 up to around August 2021, so 8 months. We've made 40% gain on the account. We have close to a 50% win rate with a 1 to 4 on average risk to reward ratio. So obviously that's a very profitable system, and yeah, couldn't be happier with those results, to be honest. The max loss streak we had was around 3 trades in a row. Not sure why that says 2.6, probably based on how it calculates it, but max loss streak was essentially 3. Actually, yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Max loss streak is 3. Max win streak, we had 4 winning trades in a row, so that's good as well. In terms of the daily sort of distribution, you know, all of the days were profitable, but we had our most losses on a Tuesday, and our best winning day was a Thursday. You can see very clear sort of difference between how much we lost on a Thursday and how much we won. In fact, you sort of have a 1 to 20 difference between these, a ratio between these two, loss and win ratio on a Thursday, so that's very good as well. Our worst month was minus 2.4%. You can see we did have a few losing months, but in general, the months were sort of in steady profit, which is very good going once again. You can see sort of a more detailed distribution of those wins and losses right here as well. In terms of the sessions, obviously we didn't trade Asia session, so there wasn't any trades in Asia session. London and New York were pretty much equally as profitable, and we took the same number of trades. Actually, yeah, you can see over here, London was slightly more profitable, but we did also, actually, yeah, we had pretty much the same number of trades in each session, but London was slightly more profitable. And then you can also see sort of towards the back end of New York and London, we also actually made the most profit. So that's something to note, which means that essentially that the most profitable time of day for me was either past New York session, so around 5 p.m, or also at the end of London around sort of 11, 12 a.m. UK time. But yeah, guys, good statistics so far. I'll continue this session next time as well. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to learn how I trade or copy my trades, I'll leave a link in the description as well. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.